Most people who build something real eventually hit the same crossroads. Revenue increases, word spreads, and the pressure to expand follows. More staff, more locations, more inventory. It's a familiar pattern, and most business owners follow it. Bridgette Chitwood didn't. She and her husband Clinton run CNC equipment out of Nashville, Indiana, an operation that buys, reconditions, and sells some of the heaviest equipment in private circulation. Military surplus trucks, 100,000-pound bulldozers, decommissioned government vehicles sold to buyers across the world. The business draws nearly 2 million YouTube views a month and serves a customer base spread across multiple continents, all from a single shop with a team that fits inside it. That outcome wasn't the product of aggressive expansion, it was the product of a specific decision, one that prioritized control over growth. And understanding how that decision was made explains how CNC became what it is today. Bridgette grew up in Lafayette, Indiana, with no background in heavy equipment and no family connection to the excavating or military surplus industries. She studied industrial engineering at Purdue University, completing her degree in 2002. The discipline centers on operational efficiency, how systems are designed, how waste is identified and eliminated, and how an organization sustains performance over time. Before CNC equipment, she worked at Antler Log Cabins, gaining practical business experience outside the industrial sector. She met Clinton through a blind date arranged by family members. Clinton came from Monroe County, Indiana, where his family had worked the same land for 7 generations. His father ran an excavating business, and Clinton grew up around heavy machinery as a matter of course. The mechanical knowledge he developed over that time was embedded, not acquired, the kind that doesn't come from formal training. The pairing brought 2 different sets of skills into the same operation. Clinton carried deep equipment expertise and hands-on mechanical ability. Bridgette brought a structured understanding of how businesses are organized and sustained. She is listed as the registered agent of CNC Equipment LLC, the person legally accountable for the company's standing, a role that reflects her position as the operational foundation of the business, not simply a co-owner in name. The YouTube channel features Clinton prominently. He's the one at the auction, in the shop, behind the wheel. The structural framework that supports that work is Bridgette's domain, and it operates largely out of frame. Clinton started CNC Equipment in 2004, focused initially on civilian construction equipment. He had the industry knowledge and the sourcing instincts to compete in a space where most dealers were working from generalist knowledge. In 2008, he expanded into military surplus, a decision that repositioned the business in a niche with considerably less competition. The appeal of decommissioned military equipment wasn't immediately obvious to most buyers. The vehicles were older, parts were harder to source, and modifications required fabrication knowledge that most shops didn't have. Clinton understood the platform and invested in learning it. He also identified the buyer profile that made the niche viable at scale. Operators in remote locations, developing countries, and off-grid environments where mechanical simplicity was a practical requirement, not a preference. Older military trucks carried no emission systems and no onboard computers. They could be diagnosed and repaired with basic tools, without access to dealer networks or proprietary software. For buyers in locations where modern equipment breakdowns carry serious consequences, that made surplus military vehicles a more reliable choice than newer civilian alternatives. On the civilian side, CNC was also expanding into logging and forestry equipment, broadening the inventory while staying within the same operational model, purchasing at auction, reconditioning in-house, and reselling to a customer base that extended well beyond Indiana. As the business grew, the question of how to structure it became more pressing. An operation built around one person's expertise tends to accumulate blind spots over time. Inventory management, legal structure, process consistency, these areas don't maintain themselves, and the businesses that struggle most are often those where operational infrastructure lags behind technical capability. Clinton described CNC's core business philosophy in straightforward terms. Our business model is to keep it in-house as much as possible. We could make our business bigger, but we would lose some control. That position has held since the early years of the business and has shaped every decision about staffing, capacity, and growth since. The practical expression of that philosophy is visible throughout the operation. The shop runs a CNC machine capable of cutting custom pieces from 3/4-inch steel, handling sections up to 5 feet by 20 feet. Clinton taught himself to program and operate it. Spare parts are cataloged and organized. Scrap metal and used motor oil are collected and recycled rather than disposed of. The shop floor, Handling equipment that can exceed 40 tons is maintained to a standard that reflects deliberate operational discipline. The workforce sits between 6 and 10 people. That team services a global customer base with roughly 80% of buyers located outside Indiana. The geographic spread of CNC's customers is not incidental. It's the direct result of a reputation built over 2 decades of consistent quality, the kind of reputation that doesn't survive rapid, poorly managed expansion. Keeping fabrication and reconditioning in-house meant every unit leaving the yard met the same standard. It meant accountability was traceable. It meant the quality that built the business's international reputation was protected rather than diluted by growth for its own sake. The decision to stay lean was also, in practical terms, the decision to stay credible. CNC equipment's specialization in military surplus produced results that are difficult to replicate. Over roughly a decade, the business sold more than 100 Unimogs, heavy-duty all-terrain military vehicles that most dealers avoided due to the parts sourcing and platform knowledge required to handle them competently. Clinton invested in that knowledge and built an inventory depth that established CNC as the most recognizable name in that specific segment. The broader military inventory included M35A2 2.5-ton trucks, Stuart Stevenson vehicles, Humvees, and the M800 and M900 5-ton series. Equipment built to military specifications and auctioned after cycling out of service, often with low hours relative to their age. Beyond standard resale, Clinton developed a custom-build program that commanded significantly higher prices. Configurations included air ride suspension, crew cab conversions, lockout hubs, and front and rear steering. Those units sold for between $20,000 and $55,000. Clinton noted that custom builds attracted attention on public roads, passers-by stopping to photograph them, which extended the channel's organic reach without any formal marketing effort. The customer base for this equipment extended well beyond domestic buyers. Operators in developing countries and remote regions purchased military surplus vehicles specifically because the mechanical simplicity of older platforms suited environments where modern equipment was impractical to maintain. CNC identified and served that demand consistently, building an international presence through product knowledge and reliable reconditioning rather than advertising spend. The depth of specialization CNC developed in this space took years to accumulate. The parts inventory, the platform knowledge, the buyer relationships, the reconditioning standards, none of it is transferable quickly, and the barriers to replicating it at the same level are considerable. Government surplus auctions produce unpredictable inventory. Most vehicles move through the process without incident, purchased, reconditioned, resold. Occasionally something arrives that falls well outside that pattern. Clinton purchased a Ford pickup truck at a government auction. The vehicle appeared unremarkable from the outside. When he examined the camper shell, it contained a full surveillance setup, cameras, computers, and monitoring equipment, still installed and apparently overlooked during the vehicle's decommissioning process. He documented it on YouTube, showing the hardware in detail. The video reached a substantial audience. Shortly after it was posted, representatives from the federal government contacted CNC to recover what remained of the equipment. The episode illustrates something that structured marketing cannot produce: the credibility required to make an audience believe a story of that nature, and the operational reality that makes such a discovery possible in the first place, are both products of doing genuine work over an extended period. A channel built on personality or production value can attract viewers. It cannot generate the kind of content that emerges from a real operation running real processes every day. The spy truck video introduced CNC equipment to a viewer base well outside its established audience, people with no prior interest in military surplus equipment who encountered the channel through a single unusual event. That kind of reach is not engineered. It accumulates when an operation is consistently active and consistently authentic over time. The CNC Equipment YouTube channel has been active since October 2012. Clinton posts approximately twice a week. The content covers reconditioning projects, auction sourcing, road trips, equipment demonstrations, and occasional coverage of scammers operating in the surplus market. The channel averages close to 2 million views per month, a figure that reflects sustained audience retention rather than periodic spikes from individual videos. The channel functions as the business's primary trust-building mechanism. Buyers who locate CNC through YouTube arrive already familiar with the operation standards, the quality of the reconditioning work, and the character of the people running it. That familiarity compresses the sales process considerably. A buyer in another country committing to a significant purchase has typically spent hours watching the operation before making contact. That dynamic cannot be purchased. It accumulates through consistent output over years, and it is specific to the people and the operation behind it. Competitors attempting to build in the same space have generally found that the mechanical knowledge and the on-screen credibility are individually achievable, but the combination alongside a genuine global operation with a 20-year track record is not. CNC operates a second channel dedicated to inventory listings, functioning as a direct sales feed for buyers who have already identified what they need. The main channel builds the relationship. The secondary channel completes the transaction. The separation is clean and practical. CNC Equipment participates annually in Touch a Truck, a community event held in Brown County where families attend, children interact with large equipment, and proceeds go to the Weekend Backpack Program, a local initiative providing food to students during periods when school meal programs are unavailable. The most recent event drew over 1,200 attendees and raised $18,000. CNC is a consistent annual sponsor. The business also provides financial support to the local fire department and sheriff's department. Bridgette described the approach plainly, contributing where possible because the community was there before the business was. Clinton's framing was equally direct. You gotta be nice to everybody. Neither statement was presented as a business philosophy. Both reflect a straightforward set of priorities that have remained consistent throughout the company's growth. CNC Equipment's trajectory over 2 decades is the product of a clearly defined decision to maintain control over quality, keep operations in-house, and grow through reputation rather than expansion. That decision produced a business with a global customer base, a YouTube audience in the millions, and a market position in military surplus that took years to build and would take years to replicate. Bridgette Chitwood's contribution to that outcome, the operational structure, the legal foundation, the business systems that gave Clinton's mechanical expertise somewhere durable to operate, is not visible in the content the channel produces. It is visible in the fact that the business has held its standard for over 20 years and shows no signs of compromising it.